Everybody, welcome back to Purplatypus is the name, and today we are talking about papasha. And I say it like that because it reminds me of that song Papaya by Baby Metal. You know, that one goes ba 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 papaya, papaya. But it's papasha. And so this is a new character coming to the game. We don't have a date on it, but they did tweet it out, so it's got to be coming pretty soon. So basically, what we're going to go over their entire kit, and I'll give you my idea of how good they are. But what's super important is that this is, from what I could read in what I've read in the comments on the Discord, this is an SSR unit, and they have a legendary weapon, the whole shebang. You know, legendary unit, legendary weapon, but they will be 100% free to play. This will be a free obtainable unit. Now, in other versions of the game, I hear that it's part of like the guild store. You could basically get her shards from the guild store. And you eventually will be able to max her out 100% for free, including her weapon. So this is going to be very good because you can make content based around this and guides because everyone will have her in their account. So if you could implement her into a lot of strategies, it'll help a lot of people. So yeah, we're going to go into her kit, and yeah, free units. Sword of Convallaria, never did it. Other gachis that I played, Octopath Traveler did do it a lot, actually. They had a ton of free units. That was awesome. So a lot of gachis do actually this free unit thing, but the last one I played just never did. However, I'm very, very excited for this. So let's actually go ahead and look here. This is kind of big. I will link this down below so you can look through. It has all the characters, even unreleased characters that are just in the other version. And there will be a little bit of translation issues, like instead of confection index, it's called like something different here, right? If I come down here, contamination gauge and vertebrae, vertebrae instead of whatever it's called, the dupes system. So, but we will actually go over this and we will read her skills. It's a lot of information, but I actually thought it was cool. This one, we can go over the pros and cons. Completely free unit. While it'll take some time, you could get her and her weapon to dupe 6 100% for free. Awesome. She might be in a banner, but I'm hoping you can get her mostly through the guild store. Comes with a robot that adds a bit of damage, which is very, very cool. Has decent damage courtesy of the Sentinel stats. So the Sentinels probably just have reasonable stats. And carries over 100 of her stats to the robot other than her HP. So it'll get probably her defense and her attack stat. The robot dies very easily as a con, but it does come back, it sounds like. And her S2 is critical at controlling the robot, yet is also a huge CG. I think that's probably the mana drain. If the map demands movement, you'll have to use her normal attack a lot. Okay, so let's actually go into it. So warning shot, 60% attack. That's actually lower than most attacks, it sounds like. It's whatever. We should look at her passives first, because this is like her big thing, and then we'll go back over the other one here. I think I can zoom in at this point. Like that. There we go. So this is her. Yeah, let's go a little bit further back for me. There we go. This is her passive. At the start of battle, you summon a city guard near papasha. After city guard or her attacks, you gain a mana, an index, whatever you want, ammo. I'm just going to call it mana for now. So both when her and her guard attacks. After you land a critical hit, you increase the crit rate of your guard's next attack by 20%. And after the city guard gains a critical hit, you will also get a critical hit boost, 10%. And so the ways you can boost it here are, we'll look at the vertebrae in a second here. But so the city guard is its own thing and has its own abilities, right? So there's actually a lot to go through here. I'm not going to go through in super detail all this, but basically the city guard has a, after she attacks, an enemy target, city guard will support by attacking the same target, dealing physical damage equivalent to 80% attack. It sounds like this could be at any range, right? Anti-terror support, like literally it looks like entire map, which is very good. Same weapon type, and 80% attack as a follow-up is probably why her 60% is pretty low. At the end of the turn, city guard will move independently to search for cover, so it automatically moves. City guard cannot be healed or have shield applied on it. When papasha is healed, city guard recovers HP equivalent to 10% of its max HP. So it recovers 10% every time she gets healed. So a lot of little heal triggers could be very good. So Suomi and Cheetah, who do a bunch of little heals, could be very good. When city guard receives fatal damage, it enters reorganization for 2 turns. So basically after the reorganization, it seems like it will basically self-revive, which is very cool. At the end of the action, activates Overwatch on the entire field. After an enemy uses a normal attack or skill, it deals damage equal to 40% attack. This could be activated once per turn. So this is only after reaching Vertebrae 5, the dupe number 5. So that is a pretty powerful boost. Just Overwatch the entire field. Whenever they use an attack or a skill, they're just gonna get hit. It's only once, but still, it's pretty damn good. All right, so that's her passive. All that's in her passive. Okay, so now let's go up to her second ability here. Honor Guard selects an enemy target within 6 tiles and deals AoE damage equal to 80% of attack to the target and all enemies within a 1-tile radius. If the selected target's stability gauge is greater than 0 after attacking, the City Guard gains Bravery of Resistance for 3 turns. We will, let's take a look at this right now. Bravery of Resistance increases damage dealt by anti-terror support by 30%. This is considered a buff and cannot be dispelled. So basically, it lasts for 3 turns. So if after you attack them, they still have stability gauge, City Guard for 3 turns is going to get the ability to just do 30% more damage, which is very, very nice. That's a ton of damage, actually. And then we will look at the fixed keys and stuff as well. Silent Breakthrough selects a tile within a 6-tile radius, dispels 2 debuffs from self, dispels all control effects, command restriction, and frozen debuffs from the City Guard. City Guard will move to the selected tile and deals physical damage equal to 150% attack to the nearest enemy to papasha. So it's not where it doesn't matter where you move it. It doesn't sound like it could be moved pretty much anywhere within range 6. And it will do 150% damage to the nearest enemy to her. So where you move it doesn't matter to its damage, basically. Damage dealt increases by 50% towards large targets. Holy shit, this is so cool. I love that you have if the City Guard dies, a lot of your shit goes down for sure. That's going to be a con. But it doesn't sound like she'll be completely turned off. After this skill is used, City Guard is unable to move independently for this turn. This skill cannot be used if City Guard is in reorganization status. Okay. So you just can't use the skill at all if City Guard can't be used, but still this will be a good way to position your City Guard wherever you want it to be. They said this one takes 4 mana, which is why they said it's very expensive to maintain it. So here is her ultimate here. Selects an enemy target within 6 tiles and deals physical damage equal to 150% attack to it. City Guard gains Persistent Will for 2 turns. For each buff held by self before attacking, City Guard gains a random offensive buff up to a maximum of 2 for 2 turns. So again, the City Guard will follow up with his anti-terror support. After you attack, he'll do the thing. So after using this ultimate, they will attack. You're also given City Guard Persistent Will, which we'll look at in a second, and he'll just get a bunch of other buffs potentially if you have some buffs. So Persistent Will, when attacking, increases damage dealt based on the target's remaining HP up to a maximum of 60%. It doesn't say if their HP is high or based on if they have high HP, do you do more, or if they have low HP, do you do more? I don't know. This is considered a buff, cannot be dispelled, so you get a bunch of buffs. Now there are we should actually read these. Yeah, we'll read these in a second. So her overall kit is based around this robot. All right, it sounds like the robot could die pretty easily, especially if it gets focused down. However, it is going to keep coming back, and when her robot's not around, she actually does kind of just not do much. She's basically gonna be just hanging out doing her auto attack, so she really does kind of fall apart once this robot dies. But the robot has ways to keep itself alive, and it will come back, and also it will absorb hits. So if it doesn't die in one shot, then it's going to be very powerful. So I think it sounds really good, but fragile in a way because you're so reliant on your buddy here. So let's take a look at our upgrades from getting dupes. Decrease the duration of reorganization by 1 turn. Instantly, this is way better because now reorganization only takes 1 turn instead of 2 turns. City Guard recovers, unless this is the skill Honor Guard, right? Yeah, so maybe when you use this, it will actually decrease reorganization by a turn. City Guard recovers equivalent to 20% when she is healed instead. Okay. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of weird. City Guard no longer requires the target stability to be above 0 in order to gain Bravery Resistance. Enhances the effect of Bravery Resistance to ignore 30% of defense when attacking large targets. I mean, what a crazy dupe this is, right? This is so many. City Guard can now pierce defense. City Guard now revives faster. City Guard now recovers HP equal to 20% when she's healed instead. This doesn't sound like it reads like a passive, but I don't think it is. I think it's only when you use this ability. Upgrade number 2. Tile selection is expanded to the entire field, and this skill will definitely land a critical hit, so it's a guaranteed crit. At the end of the turn, City Guard activates anti-terror support once against its nearest enemy to it. So these are just crazy damage upgrades, actually absurd. Number 3, so your guard increases critical rate by 30% and crit damage by 20% for City Guard. So this is just going to get a really high chance to crit. At the start of battle, she gains 3 layers of United Strength. At the end of the action, she gains a layer of United Strength. So let's take a look at United Strength now. Up here, there's a lot to this character. For each layer of this effect, increases damage dealt by single target attacks from her and City Guard by 10%. When you select a new target, all layers are cleared. This can be stacked up to 3 times, is considered a buff and cannot be dispelled. So the first target you're targeting is you're going to do 30% more damage to, single target damage to, so will your guard. And then once that target is basically dead or you fight something else, it's going to fall off, but you will still keep gaining. At the end of your turn, you'll gain a stack every time, so you're just going to keep doing a lot of damage. And the guard getting that much stronger, that's a huge boost. Probably safe because it's on the guard, but that's like kind of ridiculous. The upper limit of the damage increase provided by Persistent Will is increased to 80%. Holy shit, of course, that's fantastic. The effects of the random offensive buffs gained is enhanced, so they must be level 2 buffs instead of level 1 buffs. And the upper limit of buffs gained is increased to 3. Each stack of United Strength is considered an independent buff. Holy bzz. So if you have, at the start of the battle, you gain 3 layers of United Strength. That means you're going to have 3 buffs. He's instantly going to be able to get all of his buffs going. This is obviously super synergistic within itself, which is great. City Guard gains Security Monitor. That's the AoE target something every single turn. Super cool. At the start of the battle, City Guard gains Persistent Will permanently. Art of Protection grants Protection Will to City Guard for 2 turns, and Protection Will for City Guard for 2 turns instead. So he's going to gain this effect permanently. Persistent Will, when attacking, increases damage dealt based on target's remaining HP. He always has this. And then Protection Will increases the number of Overwatch used by 1 time. So he does his area-wide buff twice. After each attack on an enemy target, increases damage dealt to that target by 5%. This is considered a buff and cannot be dispelled. There's also going to be something we're going to get here. Increase attack by 10%, which is included. So this is just like, every one of these is actually crazy powerful. I can't even say which one's the strongest. I think number 1 might be the strongest because it just does so much, and the reorganization might be the biggest. But like every single breakthrough, you're going to feel a power surge, which is awesome. So let's take a look here. Fixed keys. Honor Guard. This deals 20% more damage to large targets and increases damage dealt to stability by anti-terror support by 2 points. Very good. It just in general damage increase. When City Guard is in reorganization state, increased damage dealt by papasha by 20%. This is kind of nice actually, because she's so reliant on that it would be nice to just be able to keep like when the robot's down, you're not going to lose quite as much damage, but it might be irrelevant. You might just like cut your losses at that point and just accept that for the next turn you're not going to deal any damage. City Guard is unable to move independently, but has 10% increased attack. That could be pretty good. It depends on how much you want to use your ability to move. Silent Breakthrough. When this skill deals damage, if there are no enemies within a 3-tile radius of City Guard, increased damage dealt by 10%. Awesome. At the start of the turn, if she has less than or equal to 1 dispellable buff, she gains 1 random dispellable buff for 1 turn. So she's going to permanently have 2, right? Because she has 1, she's going to get 1. I guess it means she'll have 1, but if she gets a second one, she can have up to 2 going. At the start of the turn, between papasha and City Guard, the one with the lower attack gains Metal's Glory for a turn. That's kind of nice. That's just 10% attack permanently. And then Common Key, 5% attack, increases damage dealt by allies' support attacks, excluding self by 10%. Oh my god, that's gonna be so good with Q as well. It only activates once per turn. This character looks absolutely cracked and damaged. Has decent damage courtesy of her Sentinel stats, and that her robot does a lot too. Maybe it's not gonna be the single, what's going on? The single highest damage in the game. Please go back up. Now go to the left, to the right. So the robot saying it dies very easily is something to be concerned about, because what does she do when her robot dies? She has her warning shot. The honor guard does this does 80% damage. Let's assume that this does, actually this would reduce the recombobulation, right, by 1. So you would probably use that, just do an 80% AoE attack. This does nothing if you can't use the guard. This does do 150%. The city guard wouldn't gain anything. But you could still use this to get some extra, some reasonable damage. So that's all pretty good there. Let's take a look at her weapon really quick, actually. I am interested now. So this might be her unique weapon here. Increases single target damage dealt by city guard by up to 30%. If the holder or an ally activated support attacks, increase crit rate of the next active attack itself by 10% up to 30%, increases damage. When dealing damage for each debuff on the target, ignore 5% defense up to 20% defense. Obviously a very, very good weapon. I mean, honestly, this character seems totally cracked. It is going to be like the fact that the guard cannot get any like shielding on it means that you're never going to be able to keep it alive. If like this, I think the reason that this is very powerful but not like busted is that I don't think this will work in PvP, because if they could focus down the guard, you just don't do that much. But maybe if you're doing an attack into the guard every turn, it's fine. But I'm thinking that the guard is going to be not good for PvP. That's why they gave it the condition where she doesn't really do much if her guard dies. But I bet in PvE, you could have, I mean, you also have taunts and stuff like that. Like Sabrina has a taunt. So that kind of stuff might be really powerful. Overall, this is a potential to be my favorite character in the game. Also, it's the first playable non-female character, like 100%. We could just be city guard gamers, which I'm going to be 100%. Yeah, I am hyped, bro. Free legendary unit with a free legendary weapon. I mean, this is such a strong power spike for everyone's account. I don't have, I mean, it might go with Suomi. I don't know. We'll see. I have to theory craft the team and see who they're really good with, but could also just be good with Q and a lot of other characters. Honestly, you do no element, right? You just do bullet, bullet. So yeah, there's no elemental of anything. So it is going to be hard to exploit weaknesses, but not impossible. But anytime there's an enemy weak to light type bullets, I mean, this might be one of the #1 go-tos in the entire game. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all for this one. I appreciate you all for watching. Much love. For Platypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye. On the rise, watch the views go.